Welcome to Energy Stew. This is Peter Roth, your host. And I'd like to ask you, have you been pioneering lately? Are you a pioneer? Well, maybe we all are. Maybe we're in times when we need to be and embrace it. So to help us understand this time that we're in and how to pursue our goals, pioneering goals, let's call them. We're so happy, I am so happy to speak again with a guest who's been on the show many times. And she speaks with the angels. And so we're going to hear from angels, Ariel and Raphael. And to help us do that is our wonderful guest, Adria Estribou. Adria, welcome back to Energy Stew.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here pioneering with you.
Yeah. Well, I just watched a video of a workshop you gave that Ariel and Raphael had a lot to say.
Yes.
And so you're doing these workshops now, and with very profound information that comes through. So I wanted certainly to share a lot of that with the audience. And they can actually have, where are your workshops? Where can they find?
They're up on my website, wingsound.com, WINGSOUND.
Okay, good. Because these angels, they know their stuff. I would hope so. And so they were talking about, that we're in such a strong pioneering time.
Yeah.
That life is changing, and they say we're in a new era. And you just earlier told me that we had pioneered once before in our lives, and we're doing it again. So can we start there?
Yeah, it was so interesting to me. The workshops are new this past year, and they seem to be just right on the cutting edge of wherever we are. So they're always new information. And this one, the angels they led us through a meditative process of being in the womb, and we're just looking at, well, at that time we went from being a cell to a few cells to, growing fingers and toes, and they're comparing this time now energetically to only the second biggest transformation we've ever gone through. So it was amazing to see it in that context for me. I'm like, wow, okay, because it's the angels always have this sense of you got this, but they always tell us in different ways how. And the latest one was, you've already gone through, how to do massive transformation. And I think the parallel is probably pretty close because we're also going through huge physical changes and the abilities to navigate new energies. But just like when we were in the womb, energetically, we know how to do this. We know how to evolve into this. It's just a matter of breathing, trusting, looking for the grace, and then having this pioneer. That was another new word from them this week, of being a pioneer. And then so all week I've been thinking about all these fun things, like the first time a group of people would see the ocean, and what do you make of that? And just all of these new things. A lot of the energies that are coming in now, like this week, feels very strong to me, and I'm lucky to have friends who are also very psychic or energetically sensitive to be able to compare, as we were all in a text chain this week, like what's going on. And it's just so unprecedented, right? So rather than trying to compare it to, well, this doesn't feel like any experience I've had. It feels uncomfortable because it doesn't feel like anything I've ever experienced before. But if you think of it like viewing the ocean for the first time, well, it's not supposed to look like anything. You don't need to compare it to a mountain or a river, it's something else. So having the openness, the sincerity to just say, what is this? It might be something brand new. Maybe there's not something wrong with me and my meditative practice or my health regimen. Maybe something is shifting like vastly in my physical structure, my energetic structure. So It's such a fascinating time.
But also the world around us is so chaotic in so many ways. You know, there are light and dark forces at play, and all kinds of these major world strategies to control the population and limit our choices. And yet here we are from inside out expanding a great deal, but
Yes.
the outside seems to be hampering that in many ways, that we have to become extra pioneers.
Yes. And in the same workshop, there was a focus on that too, the light and dark, in a kind of a new way that I appreciated. Because I've come myself to have some trepidation about the year ahead, because there's so much in the predictive sphere around, massive changes for humanity. And the angels have also been saying where this is a tremendous time of chaos. They say it's very, 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 very positive for humanity, but they do say it's, yeah, tremendous chaos, upheaval, change. And in talking about the year ahead, they said, it's not looking for the silver lining on the dark cloud. The year ahead is more like 20% shadow, 80% grace. So really look, you can focus on the dark, it's going to be there, but really look at what is the grace in this. So if you start learning to ask yourself this question now, get in the habit of, when you get in a terrible traffic, for those of you still out going commuting or traveling somewhere, because it was an accident or something, as you're sitting there frustrated, what is the grace in this for me right now? And you get in the habit of asking that, then you get into this again, pioneer of, wait a minute, maybe something different is happening here than I'm even aware of. And
Yeah, an
I
opportunity.
could focus on the negative part, the difficult part, the challenge, or I could focus on what they're calling the 80% for us in this year coming up. What is happening? What's new?
Right? That's called, perhaps refer to grace as opportunity too.
Yes.
But I see grace also as magic, and
Yeah.
so opportunity just says, hold the fort because you never know. But grace is really expecting greater forces to be at play to
Yes.
support us. And you did talk about collaboration, so maybe we can get into that.
Yeah. One of the tools that they mentioned for this coming year, the first one they talked about was collaboration. And I think for a lot of us, and definitely for me, we've come to rely on, I can do it myself. I'm going to do this preparedness thing on my own, and I have to be prepared to defend or protect or feed myself. But what they're asking is to shift this focus a little towards collaboration. So it could be people who live in your house, your neighborhood, your family, whoever you want to collaborate with. And they take this wider also to our guides and to those galactic beings they see coming
Yeah, I
more and
see
more
that
into play.
that's important, but also just that serendipity and synchronicity are like universal gifts, and we don't know where they come from
Yeah.
because they're part of the great creation of life, and and support us in very particular ways. And so when I think of grace, I think of surrendering to those forces of serendipity and synchronicity.
And it's that, in this context of collaboration, how that can play out is things being so much easier than you can expect when you're open to, how can I share my gifts, and are there others around who can help me right now? Whether that's
Right.
energetically, whether it's physically, oh, I've got extra beans and you have extra rice. Well, it could be practical or impractical or magical, all of that. I've tasted that a little myself. My inclination is still often, oh, I gotta do this for myself. But if we can lean into the collaboration, the sharing here, that's one of our biggest strengths, the angels are saying, for the year ahead. Look to collaboration first.
Yeah, and so keep your eye, everybody should keep their eyes out for others who they can be in alignment with, and who get it about their needs and how to help them move forward.
Yeah, we're strong. We're stronger together. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people right now are feeling extremely alone, but then one of the I don't know what to call it, one of our jobs even is to use meditation as a way to create more realization. In other words, to open up our channels better so we can have this collaboration and even corroboration and find inspiration by the infinite opportunities that come through new awarenesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking to focus on the grace instead of the 20% shadow, where you look is within, you look to meditation, because in that state, your perceptive abilities are just much more clear. So you keep yourself more present, more awake to be a pioneer or to really recognize what is happening here. Because if you look to the fear sources, to the media or people that you know who are really stuck in fear right now, you're going to get the shadow piece that's going to be there. You can focus on that if you want. If you want to shift gently, naturally toward the grace, the 80%, then meditation. The way the angels were describing it recently, it's not so much just centering or calm down. I'm sure it will still have those effects for those of us who like to meditate. But they were describing it more as a perceptive tool. Let's say the phone or the internet is down for an hour. How do you tell what's happening? Well, meditate, feel it. And that's where you can feel the truth.
Right. And what role, tell me or let them tell us what role they're playing in supporting us.
Oh my gosh. Unlimited.
Other than information, but
yeah.
because they really see the big picture in ways that can help us and have helped us. But what do they see their roles as right now, more than perhaps talking through you?
Yeah. They're so supportive of us. It's where you are individually. So ask your angels, please ask your angels for help, for fun things, for frivolous things, for serious things, all of it, because they really are there to support any agenda we might have. There's only two exceptions. One is if you're looking to consciously harm another, or if you're looking to hoard for the purpose of making sure that someone else has lack so you can be better than or more powerful than. Those are the only two things they don't support energetically. Anything else. I want to be a better ice cream maker. I want to solve world hunger, anything. They're really there to support us, to bring the grace, the synchronicity, the knowledge, the peace of mind, all of it. So if you're just in fear and can't figure out how to shift towards peace, ask your angels for help.
So so what does that mean? Who are the angels that we're calling on?
Well, there's two different kinds of angels, the way that they've explained it to me. You have your personal angels, or those that have been with you since birth. So
they're like spirit guides,
call on
right?
those. Yeah, or the angels call them assignment angels. Those angels that are with you from birth through after death, through all of those transitions into the next choosing phase, and then you probably choose new angels for your next experiments.
Uh-huh.
And then there's angels like Ariel, Raphael, Michael, Uriel, who are, some people call them archangels, who are available to anyone. So they're more broadly focused. So you can call on those angels if you have a particular affinity to one of them, but you really don't need to know the name of a specific angel to call on them. You can just say, hey, angels that are around me, or angels who know how to help me with this, I'm asking for your help.
So what does it mean about Ariel and Raphael if 1 million people call on them at the same time? And how do they get around so fast?
Well, the way they've described this to me, and I am working on a new book about angels, which is them talking about what the heck are angels. Um,
Uh,
the angels like Ariel and Raphael are collective, so it's more than one soul, angelic soul, together playing that function of, let's say, Ariel or Raphael. So as the need increases, let's say more people, Ariel becomes trending, Ariel's popular, then more angelic souls will gather towards that energy. So there are angels, I don't know the name of, let's say, biblical angels or angels that used to be popular thousands of years ago. Those angels probably had a larger collective at that time and then gradually shrink down as people are not calling on that particular energy. So it's a collective that grows to fill our need or our desire from the human side. So they are not limited. If you call on Ariel for, what's a frivolous example I use, being a better ice cream maker, you're not taking Ariel away from saving someone from a car accident or solving world poverty, because Ariel is a collective. So it's
Is it a collective as
not
one
limited.
consciousness that is in parts, or are there just many parts that are friendly to each other?
The way I understand it right now is that it's individual souls who share information. So the collective part is that if one angel learns something about humanity, they all then have that shared knowledge. So
So there are like a large computer knowing itself and using all the information in the computer, and each of these spirits is a part of that knowledge and purpose.
I suppose I'm a little uncomfortable with an AI analogy here, but I tend to think about bees, or I think angels talk about bees sometimes in this context. Like they're moving together with one purpose, and they have a shared wisdom.
It's as Rupert Sheldrake would say, it's morphogenetic. It's like the way birds can fly together and all shift direction at exactly the same moment.
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm much more comfortable with that analogy.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. I just, you know,
Yeah.
I understanding computers helps just for me to visualize how fast things can happen. And
Oh, definitely instant. Yeah, time angels are not time limited the way that we sometimes are. I think we're coming out of that time limitation, but yeah, so it's no issue for them if there are thousands and millions calling on them and at the same quote unquote time, no problem.
good. So, the angels, the archangels that speak through you are really know you personally, and yet are speaking from that larger morphogenetic field of information.
Gosh, that's a great question, because it could be, maybe it's not the same part of Ariel that's speaking each time that comes through me. I don't honestly know the answer to that. But it's widening my perspective just that you asked that question. I love that. I do feel
Well,
like they have the ability in any moment, any of the angels, our personal angels or the archangels, when they're looking at us, they know us, they see us very deeply. So I don't think they have to have the historical record or, have talked to us yesterday to know us that deeply. I think that just happens with angels. They're very, very clear in their perception of us.
yeah, I also think that we are not so limited in scope that they have to squeeze into our brains. They because I think we also are in this greater field of consciousness that is easy for them to comprehend.
Yeah, and at any given time, just like when you're working energetically with someone or you're talking to someone over coffee, you don't have to be holding top of mind the whole history and every conversation you've ever had in order to be very present in that moment. I suspect that
Right.
although angels have access to that, they're also, what comes up will be, well, what's poignant, what's salient for you right now. That's what's important. That's where the
Right,
action
and they
point is.
understand that, right?
Yeah, Yeah.
Right?
And it might be what's salient right now is a piece to unlock from a past lifetime, but it's just one piece. They don't necessarily have to hold it, everything with us in the same
But
moment.
I think this is very important for this understanding. It's very important for us to feel greater freedom to ask and empowerment to ask,
Yeah.
to understand that the angelic world, a universe, let's call it, is not limited at all. And so therefore, we shouldn't expect any limitation in communicating with them and and having them in our lives.
Yeah, the only limit in that sense, I would say, is that the one I mentioned a few minutes ago, is that they won't intervene in our lives if we don't ask for their help.
Right.
So that it is a collaboration here. How much do you want your angels to help? How much do you want to feel like I can do this on my own?
No, but I
Because that's
love
fun
that.
sometimes, right? To just,
No, but
oh, I got this. I can do this on my own, mom. Like that's
yeah,
fun too.
but I don't believe that we have to live just solely in our own intelligence. I don't
Yeah.
think, because then where does serendipity and synchronicity enter into it? Because I think all we have to do is just put out intention and then surrender to the universe supporting that with grace.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're
Absolutely.
inviting grace into our lives.
Yes.
Wow, this
Yeah.
is so empowering. And I have to thank your angels so much, because they actually, they show up and run the show. You're welcoming them to bring in new ideas and new information, and also, and one thing we could talk about in the future, perhaps, they had a lot to say about other worlds, other beings, and from other planets, and our relationship with that in the future.
Yes.
And we're not. I don't think we'll have time to get into it as deeply as they did with you, to talk about what life will be like in the future when we're living in a much more interplanetary reality.
Yeah. And let's just say briefly, if that teases anyone's curiosity, it's about collaboration again. And how much do we want to live and embrace, the help and the variety of life experience that other galactic beings have to offer. It's a very friendly picture that the angels are painting.
Right,
Yeah.
and because there's so much greater intelligence in among the universe, among the other beings and other dimensions, and we as humans really. That's why I think it's so important for us not to think that we can control anything, that we really are here to hold intention and love and have higher expectations.
And invite the grace. That's our choice. That's the part where we can lean more into the 80% grace. Invite it, invite the help, angelic help, or if you have other guides that you love to call on.
Right, and how
This
about
is the year to
expecting
remember that
it?
collaboration. You don't have to do it on your own.
But how about expecting it? It's like, all right, angels, please help me. I hope you can help me. How about, being more optimistic than that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm so glad to speak with you. And certainly the angels haven't come through directly in the show, but you're speaking with them practically every day,
Yeah.
and they do keep informing you in ways that you're smart enough to retain
At
and
least some of
understand.
it.
I believe from my intuition also that I'm given so much information that only comes from respect of the people who are informing me, of the spirits who are informing me, that they respect that I'm able to comprehend what they're saying. So this is great. You and I are a collaboration.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. I would feel so good. And I think our audience should feel that they're in this collaboration with us, because I'm sure that they've been very open-eared, open-minded, and listening carefully to this, and embracing it in a way to fulfill themselves.
Yeah, it's very interactive. I don't quite understand how, but even a recording like this, where someone might listen a year later, it's somehow it's the energy they bring to it is part of it. Like, even the topics that we were just sort of organically led to discuss today, it has to do with what do people want to hear and what's meaningful right now.
Yes, time isn't stuck, and everybody listening, whenever they do listen, are present with us now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know that's hard for most people to comprehend, is that, that there is no past, present, and future, really. There's present, but there's no past and future, other than our need to create sequence. But in the larger picture, everything is present at once. So
Yeah.
yeah, what fun. So we're getting towards the end of the show again, and so let's talk about your website and how people can reach you.
Yeah, the website is wingsound.com, like a bird, wing sound, or like an angel. And I'm doing these workshops maybe once a month. My email list is the most reliable way. I'm not very much on social media, so if you get on my email list, you'll hear about the workshops or the recordings of workshops.
That's great. Adria Estribou, I love talking with you. Thanks so much for being a guest again on
A lot of fun.
Stew. And this is Peter Roth, your host of Energy Stew at prn.fm. I can be reached at peter@heartriver, HEART river.org. I'd love to hear from you, and thanks so much for listening.